Hi there, I'm Kathleen Jasper, and today I'm going to talk about how to start your own tutoring company. This is part of my Educator to Entrepreneur series, and I want to share with you just a few things I did in the beginning that were small steps that led to a full-fledged business. Let's get started. So I often talk about this a lot. When I first started, I didn't really know what I was going to do, but I did know that I was a really good teacher. And so I started just tutoring students on the side to make money. I knew I wanted to do something bigger than that. And of course, my business now has become sort of what I wanted to do, but you got to start somewhere. And so I started with ACT prep. So I was a high school teacher and I was familiar with ACT and a lot of the skills that go with that. So I decided to help students with that exam. I had a former student's father call me out of the blue, say, "Hey, can you help my kid get a better score?" I said, "Sure." It ended up being successful. And then I decided, you know what, this is definitely something I could do. So I turned it into more of a business. Now, there are a couple of things you want to think about when you're starting your own tutoring company. Number one, are you going to do it online on Zoom like I'm doing with you right now? Or do you want to do it face-to-face? I will tell you, younger students are probably going to want to be face-to-face. Their parents are going to probably want to be face-to-face. And even the older kids want to have a face-to-face class or tutoring session. So you can do either one and see how it works for you. You only need a Zoom account to do anything online in terms of meeting people online and providing that. Or you can go to your local library and reserve some space there for one-to-one sessions. So it's up to you. I also recommend you do not go to other people's houses. I've talked to you about this before. I started out that way where I traveled to people's houses. Number one is expensive. The gas can be very expensive. Number two, you're kind of going to them and they should really be coming to you if they're serious about their progress in the endeavor. So it really helps to put some ownership on them. And number three, it's just kind of weird to be sitting in someone else's home. I never felt really that comfortable because it wasn't my space. So if you can't afford your own office, and I couldn't in the beginning either, that came later, you can meet at the library or other meeting space in town. There are lots of them available, but the library is free and you might even be able to reserve like a small room at your local library. It just depends on where you live and what they offer. So that's something to think about. The next thing that I think is very important is for you to have a website. Now, when I say a website, I do not mean a very complicated website with lots of tabs and all of this stuff. All you need is a homepage, because if you're becoming a tutor and you want to start your own business, all you need is a homepage that says who you are, what your credentials are, what you specialize in, and maybe once you get it, a few little testimonials down at the bottom. Now, when I started, I used Squarespace, and I am not sponsored by them or anything, but it is a very easy tool. It's a drag and drop, and you can just build a homepage with your picture, your credentials, any little things that you think might work for your students. Once you do get a testimony from somebody, maybe you ask somebody who is successful, would you mind just giving me a quick testimony or testimonial in an email? You can then copy that, and they have actual little blocks on Squarespace that you can put in testimonials, and it shows up real nice in a quote and all of that. So you can add that, but really all you need is it's a landing page. So you have a link you can share with people that takes them to your website, much better than a business card, because then they can do their own research on you. And so on that landing page, you definitely want to have contact information, right? So an email or a phone number. And then I recommend, this is the third thing I believe I recommend, is you have a little calendar link. Now, there is software out there, and Squarespace may have it integrated on their website. I haven't used their website in a long time. I use Shopify now because I sell products. But you can get a little calendar link that people can book on your calendar. So you don't have to get on the phone and talk to them and all of that to try to bring out your planner and write things down. You can just set your calendar so that if somebody's already booked with you during the times that you're available, another person can't book with you. You can also add a consultation booking. So maybe you give out free 10-minute consultations where someone can book on your calendar and just talk to you for a few minutes, get to know you. They can tell you what they're trying to get their student to work on. And then you can kind of give them advice and figure out which service would best help them. So there would be two types of bookings: a consultation booking that I would probably do that one for free. And then an actual service booking, like they decide, okay, I do want to do tutoring with Mrs. So-and-so. Okay. So they would book on the calendar. And then, very important, something to add on, I recommend requiring partial payment or full payment before they can book with you. And here's why. I experienced in the beginning, I would have a booking and, let's just say it's Tuesday night at 5 p.m. Okay. And I've got it all written down and I'm supposed to tutor this student. And then at the last minute, they cancel. Well, I had reserved that spot for them and somebody else wanted to get tutored at that time, but it was on my calendar that it was for them. So I turned down money and a job for this other person only to have that person, say they didn't need to come anymore, which costs me money, right? So you want to eliminate that as much as possible. And so what I recommend is like a partial payment, a little deposit, because that gives them an incentive not to stand you up and also to fulfill their end of the deal. And if they do end up canceling, maybe there's a 24-hour cancellation policy. You can add that all in the calendar. Then you do get that half payment, partial payment. So you're not out, the full price. And it just helps to kind of set expectations. And there's nothing wrong with that. Okay. So we have a website. We have a little bit on the homepage, contact information, things like that. We have a little calendar link where people can maybe book a Zoom call with you. You don't have to go meet them in person for the consultation. You could do a Zoom call with them or a telephone call, whatever they prefer. And then you have actual bookings, a set time on the calendar where you can provide training or tutoring. Now, remember to leave ample time between sessions. So let's say you're starting to get booked up. You've got 3 people who want to meet with you on Wednesday night, one at 5, one at 6, one at 7. Well, if they're all hour consultation, 5, 6, and 7, that gives you no time in between to prepare. So it probably should start at 5, then the next one, 5:15 or 5:30, the next one, 6:45 or 7, so that you have a little bit of cushion to get ready for the next client. Now that's ideal, right? You having multiple clients on multiple days. Now you're starting to really build a business, but just kind of map that out a little bit. And that all comes with trial and error. I can remember booking people back to back and just not having enough time to get ready for the next person. Okay. So make sure you think about that on the calendar. And then finally, one last thing that I think people really liked about my services is just a little progress monitoring sheet. I went into Word, I put out a little chart, and it basically had the student's name, what we worked on, what his beginning score was, what his ending score was, any growth that's happening, a little area where I could write in a quick note to the parent. Zachary is doing so well on his math. He really mastered algebra, blah, blah, blah. And then have the kid take that to the parent, or you could send it in an email. And it's so quick and easy, but it gives the parent a tangible thing that they can say, oh, okay, we're making progress with spending this money on tutoring or academic coaching. Because without that, they're just kind of throwing money out into the air and they don't really know what's going on in your tutoring session. They may or may not even look at it, but just giving it to them in an email or in physical form is going to help them say, okay, my money is being spent properly. And so that will help them as well. Now, some extras you might want to just have is some social media presence. So for example, you might want to form a business Facebook page, not your personal Facebook page, but a business Facebook page where you can post some ideas, tips, just to kind of get your social media presence out there. And so people can see you interacting with them besides just on your website. You might share cool quotes or, cool algebra videos that you found. You might even film yourself really quickly doing a short reel or something like that. But the moms and the dads are on Facebook and Instagram. And so I do recommend getting comfortable with social media. You don't have to be a social media star, but it does help to communicate. And it is something that will drive your audience back to your website. So you just go into Facebook and create a business page. It'll give you a step-by-step walkthrough. And then you can connect it to your website. You can connect, an Instagram business page. Make sure these are business pages, not personal pages. And you can even set up live events in there. There's all kinds of things you can do. So I do recommend, maybe not right at the beginning, but I do recommend that you get into the habit of being on social media, even if it's just to share a quick tip or a success story or something like that. Be careful not to share student personal information. I used to share scores on ACT. When students would get their scores, I would block out, their name and everything like that and say, oh my gosh, look at this score, congratulations to my students, but don't put their name. Don't put any of their identifying information, or you can just put cool infographics. There's all kinds of stuff you can share on there. It just helps to give you some authority in the space and helps people to think, oh, you know what? She's on Facebook. She's on Instagram. She's got her website. She looks legit. I think I will book a call with her. Okay, so those are the basics. Get started, try it out. See if you can book a consultation with somebody and see if you can grab a couple of clients. And then before you know it, you'll get another client and you'll get another client. And then you might have to rent out a little office space so that you have a conference room or a place to administer courses. I'll do another video on that because I went from one-to-one, where I was just working with one student at a time, to large courses where students would come every week. So there's a way to develop this into a profitable business while also helping students achieve their goals and tapping into your amazing teaching skills and, connection skills with students. All right, so that's it for today. Let me know if you have any questions and if you would like more videos on this topic. I love educator to entrepreneur discussions. It's something I'm obsessed with. So let me know what questions you have, and I'll be happy to film on that. Have a great day.